Hey everyone. I wanted to do a video on Christianity and this whole culture about appropriation and focusing on whiteness and segregation and all of this stuff. It's ridiculous. Anyways, I'm a believer. I'm a believer in Yeshua or Jesus, and many of my family and friends are Christians. And I wanted to discuss because I know the argument's coming. The argument of, is Christianity a white religion? So I hear these arguments that oh, you wouldn't believe in Jesus if you weren't born in America, right? And it's so funny to me because when it came to me, I actually was an atheist. I was brought up. I grew up in this country, and I was an atheist actually until I had a lot of life experience. I was in the army, and I spent 2 years in Iraq. I I held down every kind of job that you could think of, really fast food and grocery and all that. I spent 2 years around Muslims, and by the way, Muslims in Iraq are great people. A lot of a lot of the bad press they get is from the extremists and stuff, but there's a lot of great people out there. But the thing was I was an atheist, and I didn't become a believer in God until I did the research for myself and tried to prove that God didn't exist, right? Actually, growing up in America led me to become an atheist, if you could believe it. I'd watch like Family Guy and The Simpsons and all of this stuff, and it wasn't until I actually piqued my intellectual curiosity and decided to search for myself instead of being told, what what's what the deal is. And the thing about Christianity is that where you're born doesn't matter, because if you're a believer, you must be born again to believe in Jesus, right? Once you believe in Jesus, you become a new creature. So it doesn't matter where you're born, in China. It doesn't matter if you're born in the Middle East or America. You become a born again creature in the kingdom of heaven. And so I think it's interesting that these people use these arguments when they're not at all applicable to the situation. Um, the thing that I the thing that I am curious about when it comes to these people saying that, oh, it's because you were born in America. Well, what about the evangelism that's happening in China right now? The all the people that are dying for their faith, and they're going to underground churches and stuff like that, and they're being evangelized, and these people are devout. Um, Not only that, but we hear about people in the Middle East who are relocating. Many members of ISIS are chopping off people's heads because they're not of, because they're Christians, and sometimes they do it because they're a different type of that faith. But right now there's a real persecution of Christianity, period, all over the world. And right now, I wouldn't say that a true persecution of Christians is happening in America right now, but ideologically, I can start to see it happening because there is this virtue signaling. Right now, they're kind of dancing around it, and they're saying certain parts of the Bible need to be changed. There are different laws talking about certain groups need to be protected and things like that. And the question is, what happens when one group's rights hinders on another person's group's rights? I think it's going to be very interesting once we start seeing that. And the whole thing about it being white, right? Um, for example, a lot of people say this because in modern day pictures, Jesus is depicted as a long-haired white man. Well, if you truly, if you are a Christian, you know that that was a whitewashing. The Roman Catholic Church was responsible a lot for that and the artist's depictions and stuff. But we know that Jesus was himself a Jew, and before Emperor Constantine in the fourth century took it over, it was called the Way, and they were all Jews. All of them were Jews, the apostles and everybody who followed them until the resurrection. And then the apostle Paul, who was Saul of Tarsus, the apostle Paul, was told by Jesus, by Yeshua, to go out and preach to the Gentiles. And it was at that point that the Gentiles were grafted on to the tree of Israel. So Christianity is not a new religion. What it is, it is believing in the Abrahamic tradition Messiah, the Mashiach. And that's the cat. Anyways, it is believing in the Messiah of the Abrahamic tradition, believing that that is God's people had a prophecy about who would come to save the world, and it wasn't just to save the Jews. He used that lineage to tell the story, but eventually it says, go out and preach to all the world. And eventually it says in Scripture that the gospel will be reached to all of the world, preached to all the world, and then the end will come. So it's never been about tribalism. It's never been about, what's your race? What's your country? It's God is trying to save everybody. And I think that this trying to segregate everybody by saying that, oh, you can't enjoy this part of someone's culture because it's appropriation. I don't know what's with the segregation. They're trying to separate all these people to ensure that these people don't talk to each other. And I don't know what their end goal is, but there's something going on. Anyways, there's a reason why Jesus' features weren't described, right? We don't know if he had long hair. We don't know if he had a beard. We have the black Hebrew Israelites claiming that he was black and the Jews were black. The original Jews were black. But the thing is that doesn't matter. None of that matters. I mean, I've even seen some of them having white people kiss their feet and say that white people won't make it into the kingdom of heaven. There's nothing that talks about that kind of stuff. It actually says the Gentiles who are non-Jewish, Gentiles just mean non-Jewish, means the non-Jewish are grafted onto the tree of Israel. And so trying to separate that and say that one group is not welcome into the kingdom of heaven, that's a doctrine of devils. So anyway, I just wanted to touch on this because I can see it coming down the pipe. And God is for everybody. And I hope that everybody who sees this, if you have any doubt, reach out to me. I had to research this stuff on my own, and like I said, it took me 2 years to convince myself of this. At the end of this, I had a month long of self-hatred because I didn't want to become a believer, right? But I had to accept the truth, and it was a hard conversion. Anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.